My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Virginia Tourism Corporation Grant Program, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network in collaboration with the Virginia Tourism Corporation's grants team. We are recording today's presentation, and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the expected large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted and the chat feature is turned off. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own reading controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's session, Staci Martin. Staci is the Virginia Tourism Corporation's Grant Director and has been with VTC for 10 years. She has over 20 years of experience in state government, having previously worked at Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation and the Capital Area Workforce Investment Board. Staci is also faculty at Old Dominion University, teaching in both the English department and in Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Studies. Please join me in welcoming our speaker for today, Staci Martin.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I also want to introduce Shruti Manimaran. She is our grants coordinator. She is on the call with us as well. What I'd like to do is hold questions until the end, and we'll leave plenty of time to do that. So I am with Virginia Tourism Corporation, which most of you know by our brand, which is Virginia is for Lovers. And as the state tourism authority, we offer marketing grants to tourism-oriented businesses and organizations to help you leverage your marketing dollars, target new markets, create new marketing materials, and embrace a visitor economy. So thinking about ways to get visitors to come into a community and stay longer and spend more, and maybe adjust some of your marketing budget so you're not doing so much local marketing and you are doing some marketing to get folks in from out of region and out of state. So first of all, with the visitor economy, I want to point out, and I want to thank all of you as small business owners or prospective small business owners, that 5% of all Virginians work in a visitor-facing industry. So what we do collectively with tourism development, tourism marketing, really supports a lot of jobs in our community, and it supports your businesses. I apologize, I'm in our central office in Richmond, and there's some emergency vehicles if you can hear them. So the way we do our programs is they're hyper-focused on partnerships. We want you to really think about itineraries in your community, not marketing just your business, but working together with other small businesses in your community and saying, how can we cross promote each other? How can we pool our money together and market further? Maybe do some larger ads, larger print ads, maybe do some additional social media marketing and targeting. So in the application, we ask you to create what's called a hub and spoke. This is you. Your business is there in the middle. One of your partners needs to be a lodging partner. So this could be a B&B. This could be a campground. This could be a flagged hotel. This could be an independent hotel. Airbnbs are permitted. However, our preference is that it's a company that has quite a number of Airbnbs and not just someone who's renting out a room in their house. The other partner is someone you're going to do some significant marketing with. Oftentimes, this is a restaurant in the community. And then you're going to have 4 other spokes that you're going to identify that tells us where other people might go. Maybe you're a boutique retailer in a downtown Main Street. So you're going to partner with a hotel, get folks, to come in for the weekend. Of course, they're going to eat somewhere, but maybe they're going to explore some other areas, some other businesses in the community. Maybe you have a winery. Maybe they're going to pop over to King's Dominion. Maybe they're going to visit a museum. And so we want you to build out this partnership so we can evaluate the itinerary potential, your length of stay potential, and who you might be cross-marketing with. So some ideas on cross marketing could be as simple as the restaurant puts a rack card about your business in the guest check when the visitor is getting ready to leave the restaurant. It could be where the hotel hands the person checking in quite a bit of information about your destination. It could be a restaurant says, "Hey, show us your museum ticket and you get, free drink or 10% off your first appetizer." So think about different ways you can support other businesses in your community and market together. And so now I want to talk to you a little bit about our programs, especially this marketing leverage program. We have about $1 million in this program. I can award maybe 60 to 70. The thing to remember about this program, especially as small business owners, is you don't have to apply for the maximum award tier. If you have matching funds of, say, $2,500, you can apply for a match of $2,500. You do not have to go for these $20,000 and $30,000 award tiers. So with these award tiers, it's a one-to-one cash match program. So what you would do with award tier one, you would create a $40,000 marketing plan. You would then submit to us proof that you executed this marketing plan, and that includes copies of your advertising, copies of the invoices, proof that you've paid the invoice, and we would pay you back $20,000 of that $40,000 in marketing. Now, the caveat for us is that you need to have that Virginia is for Lovers logo on your marketing. That really helps you because that's such a well-known brand. Folks start to associate that with us and this Visit Virginia message. So it's a good idea to include that in all of your marketing. Now, the other caveat with this program, sorry, I've got these lights just turned off, is that you engage in new initiatives. You can use this funding for placing advertising, paying for advertising, getting photography and videography, creating new content, a brand campaign, getting new brand developed, new logo developed, and then marketing that out, standing up a website. Some limited funding to be able to go to tourism trade shows like American Bus Association. But just remember, everything that you do that counts as match or for reimbursement has to have that Virginia is for Lovers logo on it. So we had a lot of questions about who's eligible because it is rare state funding that is allowed for private businesses to apply for. Now, you must be a tourism-oriented private business. So restaurant, boutique lodging, boutique retail, museums, a chamber of commerce, a Main Street are all eligible. We cannot fund sort of wellness based businesses like yoga studios, nail studios, and things like that. Really need to have a good visitor experience there to be able to be eligible for our programs. We also get a lot of questions from folks that own marketing companies, and they want to understand whether or not they're eligible, and they are not. If you're a marketing company that says you do social media management for a variety of businesses, you would show up in an applicant's marketing plan. An applicant who gets funding from us could hire you to manage their social media. So you are not eligible. But if you're in an advertising or marketing business, it's a good idea to bring along our grants handout, our funding summary handout when you do your client calls to let them know that VTC does have some matching funding that can help defray the cost of their marketing. We do have some new rules this year. We're trying to limit some double dipping in our programs. We have this marketing leverage program that's open now through March 19. And then we also have the micro business marketing leverage program that is open in summer. The micro business is a smaller award tier and it allows for in-kind match. Often it's a really good gateway program for a first-time applicant. What's new this year is you can't apply for the program that's open now in spring and also the program that's open in summer. So keep that in mind. Information about the micro business program is hosted online. I'm not going to go into that too much today, but just remember, if you do apply for this spring program, then you aren't eligible for our summer program. A little bit more information on who's eligible for what. We also have a special events and festivals sponsorship program that opens in late fall. We will do some webinars about that. Usually small businesses don't apply in that program. Those are for our large event organizers, folks that are putting on large festivals, music concerts, sporting events. But as a small business, when we announce those awards, you might want to reach out to the applicants and make sure your restaurant info is going to be in the registration packets, or there's going to be a link on the ticket confirmation email that your restaurant is there, or your winery is there, or your brewery is there. And that way we're doing some more cross marketing with our programs. So we do have a variety of programs here at VTC, and it does take us quite a bit of time to score these. This program closes in mid-March, and we will not announce awards till early May. It does take us 6 to 8 weeks to get through all the applications, figure out who's qualified for scoring. This program does have a spend down all the way through October 31, 2027. And you do need to get your reports and reimbursements in by December 31, 2027. Now, you don't have to wait until then. You may want to do a shorter marketing campaign, just something focused on summer, fall 2026, in which case you would send your reimbursements and reports into us earlier. We have found that a lot of people wait till the last minute to apply for our programs. We get about 200 applications in this program, the majority of which come in the last day, in the last 4 hours. We get about 40 applications in the last 45 minutes, one per minute coming in, and sometimes that can cause some technical issues. So it's a good idea to complete your application early. Make sure that you have your calendar set, you know when that deadline is, because you're not waiting until the last minute to submit the application. We also want you to be really forward looking, right? Our goal is to bring in more visitors to Virginia in 2026 and 2027. That means doing marketing out of region, which is 50 miles away from where you are, and especially doing marketing out of state to try and get people to come in from North Carolina, Tennessee, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, all of these great drive markets. We do allow a short look back period. So let's say you've been doing some marketing, you've got the Virginia is for Lovers logo on it, you've already paid for it. You can count that as match in our program. You may already have some match in order to apply for our program. Like I said, this does have a spend down all the way through October with reports due in December. It can be shorter if you just want to do a shorter capsule campaign. Not a problem at all if it is shorter. So we did update our grant portal. There's a lot of supporting documentations. So when you go to our website, vatc.org/grants, and I'll say that one more time, vatc.org/grants. On each grant landing page, you're going to see a lot of documents on the right-hand sidebar. So we have recorded webinars, we have recorded slide decks, we have sample applications, FAQs, the terms and conditions, reimbursement forms, reimbursement instructions, everything you need to manage a program is right there on the sidebar. We also have set up a technical assistance box. So if you are working on an application and your computer crashes or you're confused about something, use this box to reach us. It's your 911 call to the grants team. 4 people get an email and we can work on whatever the issue is when you're in your application. People often use this box during that last day of applications when our servers get a little bit overwhelmed. But please use that even if you have any questions about our programs. And so I'm going to take a look at actually the application portal. So when you start your application, it's right here on our website landing page. You're going to acknowledge some specific things about our programs, including that this is a reimbursement program. We do not grant any funds up front. We have to be good stewards of these dollars. And so your money will be held on account here at VTC with your grant number. You can spend down those funds. We prefer no more than 2 reimbursements per program. You do need to send in that proof of advertising, proof of payment, and copy of the advertising invoice with us to get reimbursed. You also are going to acknowledge that you have to use that Virginia is for Lovers logo on your marketing and advertising materials. We have a form online where you can request that logo in various formats for your graphic designers. So then we get into information about yourself as the applicant. Now, if you're a sole proprietorship, you can put in your social security number here. Everything is confidential. We redact that if there's any FOIA requests, but just so you know, you can use a social security number if you don't have an EIN. And then we want to know the town that you're in, if you're located in a town. And then we also want to know the locality that you're in, like your county. And there's a drop-down box that will list all the counties. We also like you to tell us sort of what category your business fits in. That gives us an opportunity to filter the grants and kind of look for some things for our blogs and our content. We might search for fall, winter, holiday things so we can see what's going on and share that with our content teams. So then we continue on. Like I said, we need to know your locality. We need to know your Go Virginia region. The Growth and Opportunity Fund is what has designated the Go Virginia regions. We do give you a website to look what region you are in. Some of our programs require that no more than 20% of our available funds go to any single Go Virginia region. There are 9 of them. So you're going to have to look that up and put in what your Go Virginia region is. And then we also want to know your elected official districts. We do track our programs by those districts and offer reports to those elected officials when they ask. You're going to have to select some performance outcomes in the application. We want to know that our programs are having an impact and a measurable impact. You will select these outcomes. There's a drop-down box. It could be how much meals tax revenue you're generating as a restaurant. It could be your number of website views, website clicks, your annual sales. It could be your sales tax revenue. It could be the number of visitors crossing the threshold, number of tickets sold if you're an attraction. But you do have to pick 2 performance outcomes. We want to know where you're at now, where your goal is, what your goal is at the end of the program. And then when you do your final report, you're going to tell us what your actual numbers were. Did you meet those goals? Did you exceed those goals? It's okay if you did not meet those goals. We do not claw back funding, but we want to know why. So if it was a weather issue, maybe there was a natural disaster, maybe there was some road work in front of your shop or store, downtown, there's some narrative that you will also put in that final report. So like I said, we do have the hub and spoke. It looks a little bit different than how I showed it to you early on in the presentation. You'll identify those 2 partners. One has to be a lodging partner. If you are a lodging partner, you just put your name right in there. And then you select your other partner and spokes. We do need to know the types of business those are. And then tell us how you're working together. You're going to cross-list each other on websites. You're going to do some cooperative marketing. You're going to create a rack card that has multiple businesses in it. So you're going to let us know that there in the application as well. And so here are the options for the type of businesses for your partners and spokes. Now, one thing we do see sometimes is that folks put in businesses in the community that are not tourism oriented. So maybe you're doing an event and the bank gives you some funding, your local like Chesapeake Bank. We don't want to see non-tourism partners in this hub and spoke. They need to be tourism oriented businesses so we can also gauge your itinerary and overnight visitation potential. We're going to ask you to choose 2 target markets, one in-state and one out-of-state. These are the markets where VTC is doing some marketing, and we like to see that you're layering in that Visit Virginia, Virginia is for Lovers message in the same markets that we are. You're going to choose one out-of-state and one in-state, and you're going to need to make sure that your marketing plan is targeting the markets that you identify in the application. So this is what the marketing plan looks like. You're going to create 2 marketing plans. One is going to be everything that you're paying for yourself. That's going to be the match. The second one is everything that you're going to pay for, but eventually ask us to reimburse you for. We need those to be partitioned between the match and what will eventually be reimbursed. You don't have to tell us the media vendor. We want category. So this would be like television ads, radio ads, social media ads, digital streaming, print. That way you can make some changes among categories without having to contact us and give us a revised marketing plan that gives you a little bit more flexibility. We know sometimes that you might get a great deal from, let's say, remnant space and Southern Living. So maybe you're going to drop some radio advertising so you can take advantage of this really deeply discounted price in Southern Living. You just need to let us know if you're going to move money between categories. And then we also want to know which market you're targeting and what the demographics are in that market. So demographics could be family type, family size, could be household income, could be interests. And then we want to know sort of the time frame in which you plan to place those ads, and then the estimated amount those ads will cost. So same thing with, sorry, I just went over this slide with the last one, but that's okay. You understand what I'm saying. You got to build out this marketing plan. We want to make sure it all rolls up to those target markets that you chose earlier in the application. Make sure that the dates fall within the time frame that you say you're going to do your marketing. And then we have a bonus section. So this is where you can tell us how you're going to activate the Virginia is for Lovers logo and brand in your business, in the community, and with your marketing. So this could be as simple as ordering some Virginia is for Lovers t-shirts, and on Fridays you have your staff in those t-shirts. Could be that you're going to have a pull-up banner in your business with Virginia is for Lovers, and you're going to have the travel guides for folks to pick up. It may be that you're going to order some Virginia stickers, and every transaction over $50, you're going to slip a bumper sticker in their guest checkbook or in their bag with their receipt. So we want to see you be creative about how you're going to activate that Virginia is for Lovers brand and logo in your marketing, in your business, and on-site in the destination. You do need letters of support. That's something you need to start working on rather quickly. You need a letter of support from your lodging partner. And online, there is an example letter of support for you to use. If you've never asked for one, you can send them that sample and they can draft a letter about your program based on that sample. You also need a letter of support from your local or regional DMO. So DMO stands for Destination Marketing Office, AKA your local or regional tourism office. There are 133 or so DMOs in Virginia. In the application, there is a link to a list of all the DMOs with phone numbers, emails, and contact information. If you don't have these letters, your application will not be scored. We also give you an opportunity to upload some additional documents. Maybe you want to share with us a scope of work for some website design. Maybe you want to share a profile of some influencers you're going to be working with. Maybe you want to share with us some of your Facebook insights justifying why you're selecting certain target markets. All of that is welcome in this extra area where you can upload different information. So you can stop and start your application, but you need to save the URL that you'll see on the screen when you start your application. You do have to agree to the terms and conditions, so make sure that you're reading those in full before you start your application. And then we do have a bit of a wonky system. It will email you a copy of your application within about 30 minutes. If you don't receive that, it is your responsibility to reach out to us so we can figure out if your application is hung up somewhere out there on the internet and we can get it pushed through to completion. So now that you kind of understand how the program works, I want to talk to you a little bit about some marketing plan ideas that would work for our application. So a lot of folks will do what's called capsule marketing. These are little bite-sized campaigns. Maybe they're for particular seasons. So for instance, let's say you're a restaurant and you know that your community does get some spring break visitors. So maybe you want to do a spring break campaign, which you would probably start now in mid-February and go all the way through early April, hoping you're going to get quite a bit of K-12 spring break visitation in April. Some folks do short ads, short time frames where they're really emotional ads, right? They're focused on people who love to eat, on sleep and relaxing, on content and photographs where a family is having a lot of fun together, maybe a couple's romantic dinner date. So you can use these funds to create some content and then do an emotional storytelling campaign where you're going to push that content out on social media and digital streaming. Sometimes some of our destinations or some of our partners, let's say you've got 5 or 6 wineries in the community, you might all get together and say, okay, let's all lay out our ads this certain way. We're going to use the Virginia is for Wine Lovers logo. We're all going to have our business names at the top. We're all going to talk about how we're the greatest wine trail west of 95. And then those ads all get layered together, which means that people are going to see them more often. They look the same, they're going to remember them, and then they're going to convert to booking to stay at your destination and visit your wineries. Another thing to think about really is including this logo is really important. It does have a lot of power. It is recognized internationally. It is second only to I Love New York in terms of tourism brands that are recognizable. One of the reasons we want to offer this grant money to you is it helps get our brand out there and that Visit Virginia message. It helps you really target certain markets with certain types of marketing. We have a lot of data available for you in terms of market research. We geofence about 1,000 locations across Virginia. We can share that information with you. We have traveler profiles that will tell you traveler interests, how long those people are staying, how many people are in the travel party, how much money they're spending. We also want you to think about using your own research, like your Facebook Insights or your website analytics. We do offer these funds to help you take your marketing even further. And we also want to drive visitor engagement, right? People see a lot of content. The more often they see that Visit Virginia and Virginia is for Lovers message, the more inclined they're going to be to choose Virginia for their vacation rather than North Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. So another thing that folks do in terms of marketing is what's called pinball marketing. And a lot of us see this when we're scrolling social media. We'll see the same ad show up on multiple channels. And if you're like me, you're bouncing around to different sites, right? A lot of us triangulate our news. We're going to CNN, maybe we're going to Fox, maybe we're going to CNBC, but we see the same ad on all of those apps and all of those channels. Maybe you bounce around from Instagram to TikTok to Twitter, but you're seeing ads that look the same across all the channels. You're really flooding the zone with some short form marketing to get people to really remember your message and then convert to booking to come to that destination. Now, this can be a little bit more expensive than, say, a capsule campaign because you're flooding the zone. You're putting ads out on multiple channels all at once. And then there's sort of traditional full funnel marketing where you have some ads that sort of get people interested in the location. Then you have some ads that get people to really consider coming. Maybe there's a discount for certain seasons or certain times. And then you run ads that has that book now message. Don't miss out. You book your stay. So 3 phases in a full funnel marketing plan. You could write a marketing plan to our grant program that covers all 3 stages. Maybe you want to take a year and a half and really raise awareness about your business. And then you're going to apply again in 2028 and do a consideration campaign. And then in 2029, you're going to apply again to do a conversion campaign. It's up to you how you want to approach this. If you're a relatively new business, perhaps you're only at the awareness and consideration stage and you're not quite ready to have that book now message. So think through what type of marketing you want to do what type of marketing plan you want to create. So just a few rundown here on what these are, right? Capsule campaigns, great for marketing new product, right? A new park in a destination, a new tasting room, a new beer garden, even a new winery blend or brewery blend. We do know that tourist interests do change quickly. So sometimes pinball marketing keeps them engaged with all the different things there is to do in your downtown or in your community. And then sometimes you're looking at marketing to different people different times of year, right? It's hard to reach out to families with K-12 children during the school year. So sometimes you're just doing a full funnel campaign just in 3 months of summer. Sometimes you're doing a fall campaign. You want to reach those retirees. So really think through not just targeting certain markets and certain demographics, but targeting maybe certain product, certain seasons, or certain preferences among the visiting public. So some things to think about for this year is people are really looking for that bespoke experience, that unique experience. And I love the cheese shop in Alexandria. So really thinking through what do you have to offer that's authentic and unique that they can't get anywhere else except at your business or except in your destination. You also all know that 2026 kicks off America's 250th commemoration that goes all the way through 2031. The VA 250 Commission is investing $7 million in history marketing. Maybe you want to piggyback on that. Even as a restaurant, you could create a couple of dishes that are inspired by, let's say, colonial, indigenous, and African American cultures. Maybe you want to create an appetizer that was in a colonial cookbook and slap on that Virginia's for History Lovers VA 250 logo, and that's your signature dish for the year. You can do that, and then you're piggybacking on this history initiative. We do know that outdoor recreation is Virginia's bread and butter. If you're a tour guide or an outfitter, maybe you want to use some of this marketing money to get some new content with drones and GoPros, and then push that content out on social media for marketing. And then we do have more and more communities embracing special event and festival programming. Some communities or businesses are coming together to create festivals. They're using this money to market those festivals. We have a number of businesses in Portsmouth, Virginia, in the High Street area that come together for a big Oktoberfest event in September of each year. Now, the locality is also involved, but the businesses also apply for marketing money to try and get folks that are coming to Oktoberfest to then cross the threshold into their business. So a few things to remember. So you do get reimbursed and you do follow the guidelines of the program. It is a bit of a process to get reimbursed. We do require that you mail in all of your information and documents, that you do interim and final reports, that you make sure that you're using that Virginia is for Lovers logo on your advertising and you're sending us proof of that. We do allow direct deposit. We need a W-9 and we need our specific reimbursement form. All of these things are hosted online so you can easily find what you need to submit a reimbursement. We do document whether or not your expense is counting for match or if it's something you want to be reimbursed. We do limit you to 2 reimbursements per program. We are a very small team of 2 right now. We're supposed to be hiring a third, but we like to see a minimum of $1,000 per reimbursement. And then you do have to send in those interim and final reports with each reimbursement. We want to see that you're tracking those performance metrics. You do have to report back on those. The interim report and final report, like I said, due with every reimbursement. And then you can include in your final report additional information that helps bolster that this money has made a difference for your business. This money has then contributed to the economic impact of tourism in your community. So you can include any other information with your final report that you want to. So I do want to stress again, when you do your marketing plan, that we want to see categories, not vendor names, and that you can move funds across categories with a revision plan. If you're keeping money in a category, let's say you're doing one radio station and you decide to switch to another, you don't need to let us know. But if you're changing money, if you said you were going to do radio, but now you decide to do print, we really need to know that because you were judged on your original marketing plan. We really, really want to see you follow your original marketing plan as much as possible. But we do understand marketing is dynamic. These programs go all the way through October of 2027. You may not have all your quotes in place. You may have new publications that come online that you want to get involved with. That's okay. Just make sure you're letting us know and getting approval for any changes to your marketing plan. So new this year is we used to offer 6-month extensions. We can no longer do that. We are offering 3-month extensions only. And if we don't receive your reports or reimbursements by the deadline, you forfeit your award and those funds go back to the grant pool for the next year. So really make sure if you do get an award, you're marking your calendar for when reports and reimbursements are due. Like I said, if you do not have those letters of support, then we are not going to score your application. And if you have ineligible items in your match or marketing section, we will take those out. If all of those items are ineligible, then you will not get an award. So make sure you're paying attention to the eligible expenses list when you fill out your application. So this is what I call the V8 engine of our grant program. This is really what we're looking at. We want to see you create captivating campaigns that are going to get people to book their visit to Virginia. We want you to use research when you decide your target market and demographics. We like to see you list more than minimum match. We want to see you creating partnerships in your community. Excuse me. We do want to see increased visitor spending as well. We know if we can entice folks that normally come for 2 days to come for 3, they're likely going to have 2 or 3 extra meals in the community. They're going to do a little bit more retail shopping in the community. We want to see you activating VTC services, not just these grants, but we have a variety of services. We have a PR lead service. We have an industry newsletter. We have industry co-ops where we buy down the cost of certain advertising. We do want to make sure you're following all the rules so we can pass our audits. And then we want you to understand that sometimes your award might be reduced based on our requirement to spread money across the state. And so when you're filling out your application, don't just say, hey, I used my Facebook analytics to decide on my target market. We want more than that. You might say, I used my Facebook insights. It said that I'm getting 10% of my followers from Charlotte, North Carolina. Therefore, I think I'm going to stop marketing Charlotte because 10% is a pretty good number. And I'm going to go ahead and pivot to doing some marketing in Philadelphia, where I'm only getting 3% of my followers. We want to make sure you're stretching your budget and let us know if you're using some of our industry co-ops. We do some buy downs with Travelocity, Sojourn, Blue Ridge Outdoors. So make sure you're checking our website for those other co-op and buy down opportunities. We also want you to be connecting with the welcome centers in Virginia. There are 10 welcome centers as well as safety rest areas. We have programs where you can have your rack card in the welcome centers and safety rest areas. We have additional buy-ups where you can be spotlighted inside the welcome center. You can do a welcome center takeover. It's called a blitz for $500. You can hand out samples. So there's a specific website, welcomeva.com, where you can see all the buy-ups you can do with our welcome centers. And then finally, we know that sometimes it is difficult to find marketing dollars. There is new legislation that passed in 2021 where localities can set up what's called a tourism investment district. It's called a TID. And what it is, it's an extra fee per transaction. The locality and the businesses decide which transactions will carry this fee. And it generates a fund that is then set aside for marketing. Richmond Regional Tourism is the first set of localities to do this. It's 5 localities in the city. They are doing a 2% fee on hotel stays and hotels over 100 rooms. They have generated almost $8 million in the first year for tourism marketing, making a big difference in the amount of marketing that Richmond Regional Tourism can do. We also want you to connect with our destination development team. These are folks they live and work all across the state. They're embedded in your communities, and they can offer you specific advice on who to market to, who to partner with. And I'm going to put up the map of our destination development team in just a moment. We also want to know in the application if you've received any other funding. So for instance, some of our wineries do receive VDAX funding for their tasting room, and then they come to us for marketing money. Let us know if you've gotten any federal or state dollars. We know that we're kind of at the end of the development pipeline with these marketing dollars. Some of you have worked with VEDP or DHCD. Let us know where we fall in the development pipeline, because we want to know, yes, we are supporting and the marketing of all these other things that have been developed with other state and federal dollars. So this is our destination development team. Their contact information is here. And if you are in one of these white areas, your destination development manager is handled by our central office, Becky Nave or Sarah Austin. I do live in Virginia Beach and can sometimes assist people in the Hampton Roads region, but then we do have folks in all of these rural areas that are on standby to help you with tourism marketing and tourism development. What you can do is look over those terms and conditions, set up a meeting with your destination development manager, start working on those letters of support that you're going to need for the application, have a meeting with prospective partners, take a look at the research that we have and your own research, and start creating a marketing plan. And so here is my contact information as well as Shruti's contact information. While time is tight for us because we're 30 days out from a grant closing, we can do it with some phone calls with you to talk you through the program, maybe give you some ideas on marketing and research. Feel free to reach out to us. If you want us to set up a virtual meeting with you, we can do that as well, meet with you and some of your partners and offer some ideas. So I am going to stop here, bookmark this website. That is where you're going to find the landing page for the application. That is where you're also going to find all kinds of information about our programs. And I'll stop here and take questions.
Thank you, Staci. We did have a, excuse me, a few questions drop in. Do you want to read them yourself out loud and answer, or would you like me to read them for you?
I don't think I can see them.
Yeah, I think, do you see, like, you should have a spot in the bottom with 3 little dots, but I can just read them out loud to you.
Okay.
Okay, excuse me. At the very beginning, when you had up the spoke kind of graph thing, are there key areas in Virginia you focus on for this spoke that you're showcasing?
No, we want to bring visitation to all corners of Virginia. It doesn't matter if you're a rural area or an urban area. We do want to make sure that all of those choices in that hub and spoke are tourism oriented. So it's your restaurants, breweries, wineries, attractions, museums, lodging partners.
Another question was, do you have a grant that is not cash matched?
We do. Our micro business program that opens in summer is sort of our gateway program. That one allows for in-kind match. You can count your social media followers, your website clicks, any earned editorial and listings that you have. They do have value, and you can count those as your match and then get reimbursed for your cash spending in marketing with that program. Now, that is just a $5,000 award, and that is only for off-season marketing, September to May.
Next question was, they have a small nonprofit artisan co-op with a retail venue in a Virginia downtown area. Are they eligible for grants?
Their location, they needs to have an EIN number, or one of the artisans needs to offer up their EIN number and be the financial manager. But yes, as long as there is a brick and mortar experience where those artisans are working, then that collective can apply.
And okay, so this next question I'm going to pull out. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Can we request Virginia is for Lovers paraphernalia from you all?
Yes, you can. On our website, vatc.org, you'll see a link to set up a wholesale account. You can use up to 10% of a grant award to buy Virginia is for Lovers promotional items. You're welcome to sell those at retail. A lot of our smaller businesses and museums do set up a wholesale account. They sell the items they buy at retail and they partition that money for future marketing and grants.
Um, let's see. Can you clarify again what is reimbursed and what is matched?
So match, everything is marketing expenses. So all of your match has to be marketing match. It has to be money that you're spending on marketing. Everything that's reimbursed also is marketing. On our website, there's a list of eligible marketing expenses. It is not everything. Make sure you're paying close attention to that list when you fill out your application.
Let's see. Would Airbnb operators qualify as lodging host?
They would. We do like to see Airbnb operators that have multiple properties.
Would participation with the Virginia 250 count as double dipping or affect eligibility?
No, if you've received a VA 250 grant, you can still apply for this grant.
Um, how do we get access to logos?
So on our website, vatc.org, you'll see a tab that says Essentials. On that drop-down list, there'll be a logo request form. And you fill out that form, and we will send back to you a zip file of all kinds of logos in various formats for graphic design.
Let's see. Are there grants for service-based businesses who don't get tourists themselves but support venues and events?
Um, Give me a call on that one. So some of our event producers are eligible in some of our programs because they're driving visitation to venues. That's mostly our special event, like music festival organizers. We don't do a lot of B2B funding. We don't do any e-commerce funding. So if you would, drop me an email on that one, whoever that was.
Okay, Jay, yeah, if you could email Staci, I'll drop her email over here in the chat in a moment. Okay, so the next one is from one of our attendees, Nikki. She has a couple questions. I'm going to try to break them down. So the first was, we are a small agritourism company. It's a vegetable farm. It's be the first time we participate in the Loudon Spring Farm Tour. They're looking in particular for grants for infrastructure to get us visitor ready. Marketing wise, do we have and that might have been the first question. So
So no, we do not have infrastructure funding. Usually VDAX has the AFID program. It's the VDAX, Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, AFID program, does have some grant funding for capital improvements in infrastructure. Once you get that built out, you come to us for marketing. Now, we do have a number of agritourism applicants that do marketing for their fall pumpkin festivals, corn mazes, tasting rooms. Got to have a really robust visitor experience, but agritourism is eligible. We just don't have that infrastructure funding.
And then marketing wise, we do have a newsletter mailing list of about 2,200, most of whom are out of state. Do you have any grants to support such a need? For instance, farm signage, hand washing stations?
No, we do not have funding for that kind of infrastructure. Now, our
So that was
special events and festivals program that opens in fall for 2027 events allows you to rent some comfort stations for a festival or event. So you might want to look at that one closer to the date when we get that opened.
And going on with marketing wise for the Spring Farm Tour, I can see us cross promoting and creating flyers and asking local farmers, B&Bs, wineries to carry our information and give their patrons discounts to plants we sell when they visit us. Can the money for this grant be used for hiring a marketing person, a marketing manager?
It can be used to hire a marketing firm, but they cannot be a wage employee. It has to be a company that invoices you for your marketing management.
And this is also from Nikki to clarify, You said we could not partner with Airbnbs that are smaller. We have a local farmer who also runs a B&B called George's Farm Mill. And I was thinking of partnering with them, but would such a B&B not qualify for this grant?
We just have to take a closer look. If you want to send me an email, we can kind of look through what they have and
Okay,
see if they'll qualify.
great. Yeah, Nikki, I dropped Stacy's email, and you'll also get it in the follow-up information we send out. Let's see. Another question. Can merchandise such as t-shirts count towards advertising if the Virginia's for Lovers logo is incorporated in the shirt design? Do we have unlimited permission to use the logo with no copyright infringement concerns?
No, you don't. When you request our logos, you are agreeing to our use. Our copyright is actually owned by a company called Creative Color. You cannot make anything with Virginia is for Lovers on your own or with an outside vendor. Everything has to be ordered from Creative Color. But you can use a little bit of grant money to order from Creative Color.
Is a percentage of this grant billable to indirect expenses?
No, we do not allow indirect expenses like federal grants.
Let's see. I think I've covered, because I think, Stacy, I think we talked about this beforehand. Are there grants for starting a business? A business is shared living space for veterans. So I think,
yeah, that's not really in the realm of
separate.
tourism, but you might reach
Yeah.
out to the Department of Veterans Affairs to see if they have funding or Department of Social Services.
Thank you. Is other swag an eligible expense?
It is not. Only swag from Creative Color is eligible in our programs.
All right, we have, oh, no, one more question. Let's see. Okay, so I'm developing a software as a service for software for hotels and lodging, which will show events and activities in the area of the businesses. The goal would be to increase awareness of what is happening in the area. Would this type of business be eligible for the grant?
You would not. You would be a vendor of marketing services. So what a hotel partner could put your company in the marketing plan, and they then could use those funds to pay you to use your software to then promote the business.
Great. That is all the questions right now. We have 7 minutes. So if anyone has a question, go ahead and pop it in. Stacy, if you have any last words of wisdom while we wait, that would be great.
When you do your application, really look through the tourism lens and the fact that we want to bring in people from out of state. That's our number one goal, is to get people to come in from out of state and spend money. Local marketing is permitted, but we won't score that as high. Out of region marketing is permitted with some of the funding, but the majority of it needs to be out of state funding.
Okay. So this next, if there is a group of business owners who want to apply collaboratively, will we need to form a collective as a single entity?
No, you don't have to. One of the partners could step up and use their EIN number and be the financial manager of the collective proposal.
Great. Okay, do we have any other questions? Last call. I do not see anything dropping in. We'll just give it a moment. Stacey, this was wonderful as always. Great information, lots of information. And I don't see any other questions. So Stacey, if you're good, I'll go ahead and wrap us up.
Okay, we're good to go.
All right. Thank you again, Stacey. Thank
Absolutely.
you everyone who joined us today. As a reminder, you're going to receive an email that has a link to this recording and to the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. These SBD resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. And we do hope to see you all at our next session. Take care, everyone.